Hello and welcome to another Writing for Wellbeing activity from Grimm&Co. So this activity we're going to do is all about re-exploring, reconnecting with spaces that you might think you're really familiar with already. So for this you need to be in a space, so a room in your house. Choose a room for you to be in, could be any one, but that's where you're going to focus. Or if you have a garden and you'd like to go in it, like I have, you could be in your garden. The other things that we need for this activity are a pen or a pencil, something to write with, probably something to sketch or draw with as well. And then optionally, but might be good, felt tips, colouring pencils, crayons, things you can draw with. As well as that, the only other thing that you're going to need is some paper. And you could, if you want to, tea stain your paper. So if you tea stain your paper like this, then it makes it look kind of antique-y, a bit like a treasure map. Now to tea stain your paper, you might want to get an adult to help with that, or you might want to do it yourself. This is an optional step, but to do it you just get a piece of paper, get a tea bag that you've soaked in like a cup or a glass of water for a little bit, and then rub that soaked tea bag all over the paper so it's stained with all those kind of browny yellow tea juices. Then leave the paper somewhere to dry. Now, important thing here, this is why you might need an adult, make sure you leave it to dry somewhere where you're not going to leave annoying tea stains. So maybe if you can put it outside and it's a sunny day, outside, hanging on line, something like that, somewhere where it's not going to make a mess. But that is an optional next step. You could tea stain your paper. Okay, so once you've got your pens, your pencils, your paper, and you're in the space that you want to focus on, we're now going to explore that space and in fact create a map of that space. So the first thing that you're going to do is draw an outline for a map on your piece of paper. Now this outline could kind of resemble the shape of the space that you're in. So if you're looking down from above on the room or on the garden, it could be that shape. Or it could be more imaginative. You could turn the room you're in into an island that's within the sea of your house. So first of all, create that outline of the room or the outside space that you're in as a map on your piece of paper. Okay, so hopefully you've created your outline on your piece of paper now. Now the way that I've done mine is, I've drawn it like an island, like a desert island. I didn't think that I could do the shape of my garden because I couldn't figure it out. And also I really like making maps of like made up land, so I've done mine like that. Now we're going to start filling out that map and putting detail in it. And the kind of map that we're making is a sensory map. We are going to use our different senses to really explore and take in this space, and then to map out, to write down all its different features on our maps. Now the first sense that we're going to focus on is the sense of sound. Now this space that you're in, your room, your garden, wherever it is, you've probably been in there lots of times, I imagine, and there's probably lots of sounds that you're familiar with. But maybe if you stop, if you concentrate and you try and take it in, you'll be hearing new sounds that you've not really consciously heard of before. So in a moment, you're going to take a minute to explore that space, maybe even get up and move around it, see what different sounds are in different areas, if you can hear different things in different places. Now in this space that I'm in, as you've probably heard, it's quite noisy. I can hear far off behind me, so that'll be off my map, but I can still put it in like the ocean around my island. I can hear people, I think, using chainsaws maybe to cut down some trees in the wood. I can hear kids playing in the garden next door. I can hear occasional cars passing by outside. And I can hear things like birds and insects flying around as well. But I think there's probably loads more sounds in this garden that I've never really taken in before. So maybe for a moment I might close my eyes and just try and listen really carefully. I think in a moment too, I'm going to go and have a little exploration of different spaces to see if I pay attention really closely, if I can hear different things. And I'd like you to do the same thing now. So not writing down anything just yet, we're just trying to take in all the different sounds in the space. So I'll tell you what, I'm going to go off and explore. You pause this video and then turn it back on once you think you've taken in all the sounds in that space that you are in. Okay. Okay, so I've had a good explore. I've heard some new things that I've never really taken in before, and I'm ready to start mapping these sounds on my map. So what we're going to do is take this map that you prepared earlier and then mark on there all the different sounds that you could hear. Now, some might be in the space, like the sounds I could hear in my garden, like insects and things like that. Some I might be putting around it, so the far off sounds, the sounds of the road outside, the people playing in gardens next door. So I want you to note them down. You could do little symbols and little diagrams to bring them to life. You could also give them kind of fantastical names or descriptions, or you could just state the sound that's there. But we're going to map out all of those sounds that you just took in now. So pause the video, I'm going to do mine, you're going to do yours, and then we'll see what we come up with. Okay, see you in a minute. Okay, so hopefully now you've mapped up some sounds on the map that you've created. I know I have. This is what I've come up with. So as you can see on my map, I did some things that I could hear that are happening outside the space I'm in, but I can still hear, like kids playing and the sound of those trees getting cut down, and then also sounds I could hear inside the space. And some I became aware of as I moved around. So for example, I became aware for the first time of the clatter of my footsteps on the paving stones. So that was my map. I know you'll have come up with really different things. So we've done the first sense on our sensory map now. Now it's time to move on to sense number 2, which is the sense of smell. What different fragrances can you smell in this space that you're in? So once again, there might be some that you know straight away. There might be some that we'll discover as we become more conscious, more aware of this space that you're in. So slowly, carefully, using all of your amazing observation skills, you're going to do another exploration of this space that you're in. This time you're not going to use your ears, you're going to use your sense of smell. What different smells, what different fragrances are there in the space you're in? So I'm going to go and explore and do my map too. You go and do yours now. Okay, see you in a minute. Okay, so hopefully you've had a bit of an exploration of your space again, this time not using your ears so much to think about sound, using your nose to think about the sense of smell. Now, I wonder what smells you've come across in your space. Now, I think that my sense of smell isn't very good, but even so, exploring it, I discovered new things that I've put on my map. So as you can see, in my space, I could smell things like the scent of washing on the line. I wrote the scent of creosote, which is basically like kind of wood stain from the shed. And I also put that I could smell the scent of my cup of tea, which I used the descriptive word tannic, which basically means quite bitter. So if you've not done your map yet, do yours now, add your smells, your fragrances on there. You could do little diagrams and pictures like I've done. You could colour code things, good, bad, unusual, common. You could use descriptive words like I have, try and describe that smell. Really try and be specific about exactly what it's like. So pause the video now, do the next part of your map. Okay, so I'm assuming that you've done the next part of your map, you've done all your smells on there. So the last one that we're going to go through together is touch. So I mean physical textures, physical sensations, different touches that you can feel in that space you're in. So here we'd be talking about words like rough, smooth, hot, cold, abrasive, all of those different terms that you might use to describe different surfaces. Now, obviously in this, be careful. Don't just go around touching everything without thinking about it. As you would do, be careful, but really think about things, these everyday things that you're probably touching, coming across quite a lot of the time. But now focus on, what does that texture feel like? What is it similar to? What does it remind you of? What words could you use to describe it? Okay, so we're going to go on another tour of the space that you're in, this time switching off your ears, switching off your nose, just focusing on what texture things in that space feel like, whilst of course staying safe and being respectful of other people. Okay, let's go on our next tour. Okay, you've gone on another tour of the space that you're in, and this time you've been focusing on the sense of touch, of the textures, the physical sensations of the different objects and surfaces in that space. Now I've mapped mine out, so I'll show you what I've come up with. Now you can see on there more detail has been added, and I've added detail to some stuff that I'd already put on there, so like the soft, fluffy feeling of those clothes drying on the line. I've added on things like the splintery feeling of the fence and the smooth, pliable feeling of the hose pipe. Pliable, by the way, means it kind of is flexible, it bends easily. So I've added those features onto mine. Now it's your turn to put those features on your map. Describe using the richest, most detailed vocabulary you can, all of those different physical textures and sensations in your space. So pause the video now if you like, and you can do that. So we have now added 3 different senses to our sense map. The sense of sound, the sense of smell, and the sense of touch. And we've added maybe pictures, diagrams, colour coding, symbols, detailed descriptions to bring those senses to life. So we've captured all of the feeling of that place on your map. Now, possibly, depending on the space you're in, you could now add in a 4th sense, taste. Now, I can't add in taste in my garden. There is not much that I would want to eat here unless I want to get quite ill. So I'm not going to do it. You might be able to do it in the space you're in. So you could say what you think the different things taste like in your kitchen. This isn't, by the way, licensed for you to go around ransacking the cupboards. You're just using your memories here, I think. Or similarly, say if you're in your room and you've got some like nice treats hidden away, you could write down the sense of what those things taste like. But I'm not saying go and taste loads of random things. It's only if it's edible objects. You could add them to your sense map now. So now, if you want to do that optional extra step, we have a really detailed map. And I would call this a treasure map. I think it's full of treasure because you've used your senses, your skills of observation, your skills of quiet thoughtfulness to take in all this amazing stuff about the world around you and capture it there. Now, if you like, you could use this sensory map as the basis to do more things. Let your imagination run wild. Perhaps you could write a poem that uses all of this sensory detail to create an amazing picture of this space that you're in. Perhaps you could write a story or a comic book or a play that's set in this space that uses all of that rich detail to take us on an amazing adventure. Perhaps you could even film or record a tour of the space that you're in, taking us around it, showing us all your favourite things, the things that you've uncovered. Whatever you want to do, it's up to you. But you have now a full uncompleted sensory map of the space that you're in. And hopefully now you've also rediscovered this space that you're in. You've seen it new with different eyes in a slightly different way. And if you like, you could repeat this in other spaces to rediscover your surroundings and appreciate them a little bit differently. So, I would love to see what you've come up with. If you're in one of our established writing groups, you could upload what you've done to Seesaw so we can see it. Or if you're accessing this independently, you could send it to grimapothecary@gmail.com so we can take a look. Or you could put it up on social medias and tag us at Grimm&Co. However you've accessed this activity, I'd love to see what you've come up with, and I hope you've enjoyed doing it. I know I certainly have. Happy writing, happy drawing, happy cartographying, and see you soon.